the Newblood Championships with 8 new machines gearing up to take their machine to the finals. So let's gear up and check out the lineup. 8 more machines to take part in our Newblood competition. Hedgy Pig with their lifting arm and slow drive against the spinning face blade of the Black Widow Spider. Junkyard Boss with a front lifting plow against the flipper of Constrictor. Iron Ore with the CO2 flipper and the spiked axe we saw back in the flipper frenzy up against the full body spinner of Nightlight. And the ramming power of Sandstorm against the rear blade and spikes of Mighty Mouse. Let the wars begin! Hedgy Pig Lifter! A small body design with a lifting arm and low wedge. The lifting arm can help the machine to right themselves if flipped over, and it has fairly decent lifting power. But the weapon is very slow, just like the drive, and the big exposed wheels are also a major issue. Black Widow Spinner! The most deadliest spider in existence, as one bite is enough to kill. The spinning drum eyes are the key weapon to slash and mangle anyone who comes into contact with it. But there's no self-righting mechanism, meaning that if the spider gets overturned, it won't be able to wiggle itself back.
Robot ears, stand by.
Hedgy Pig with the lifting arm and a slow drive as we saw in the main competition. And Black Widow with the wedge and spinning face blade. It should be interesting.
3, 2, 1, activate.
He says as he then notices the legs being a weakness. Then again, so is being ramped up the front of Hedgy Pig, giving them a great chance to push and lift up Black Widow. And Black Widow seemingly in trouble here. From the word activate, actually. And Hedgy Pig trying desperately, I think, to flip over Black Widow, who cannot move. They're stuck on Hedgy Pig, being pressurized. I think they're trying desperately to escape, but I don't think it's working. Not even the spikes are helping. Now, Hedgy Pig. Well, this is all Hedgy Pig, to be honest. Black Widow not doing anything. They can't. Almost flipped over again. Hedgy Pig has a hold, using their arm as a clamper and to push and maneuver Black Widow into the pit. And a very easy victory, I think, from the word activate for Hedgy Pig, as they reverse back to the starting position, and Black Widow goes home early despite all their past experience. And it is quite the shocking upset, but the results speak for themselves. Hedgy Pig dominantly through, Black Widow's crushed and out. Next up, Junkyard Boss and Constrictor. Junkyard Boss Lifter! Looks similar to Team Shock's machine Shockwave, a 4-wheel drive box bot with a strong lifting plow and great pushing power. The quick drive is also very impressive, and the plow can be used as a spiked plate to penetrate the opposition when it's upside down. But the exposed wheels are quite vulnerable, and the armor isn't all that strong. Constrictor Flipper! An interesting design flipper which they say can self-right. The 2 wheels are at the back of the machine, and it's not very often we see a machine at the competition armored in polyethylene. But the machine has a ground clearance issue at the back, and that may prove to be a problem. I know there's a control problem, but I genuinely don't get how.
Robot ears, stand by.
Junkyard Boss with the front lifting plow and their drive, and Constrictor with their little CO2 flipper.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Who will come out on top here. Constrictor very quick and already seems in trouble as they're flipped over by Junkyard Boss. And flipped again. And I think there is a bit of problems for Constrictor. They don't seem to have complete control of their drive. Is everything okay? I don't think so. Junkyard Boss flipping them over again onto their side this time. And Constrictor are stuck against the arena wall. And now flipped up and over. And there, the floor flipper. Didn't really do anything, really. Is it gonna fire again? Nope. Okay. Constrictor will self-right with a little helping push from Junkyard Boss, who's about to send them down the pit, and that's the end of it. Constrictor are out, and Junkyard Boss goes through, and truth be told, they go through almost rather effortlessly. But hey, a win's a win, and no complaints here. Constrictor burnt out and are out. Junkyard Boss, they go through. Next up, it's Iron Ore and Nightlight. Iron Ore, Flipper Axe Bot. A two-wheel drive long machine with a CO2 flipper and a strong spiked axe to do serious damage. The flipper can also do serious damage too, as well as help them self-right and throw the opposition out of the arena. The armor, however, isn't the strongest, and there is a limited gas supply for the flipper. Nightlight Spinner. These guys literally stole one of Batman's lights from Gotham and turned it into a full-body spinner for the series. The weapon is very dangerous and hits hard. Hitting the machine is also hard as it's a full-body spinner, but there's no stream mech and suffers the same issue full-body spinners have, which is control.
Robot ears, stand by.
Iron Ore with their CO2 flipper and their spiked axe, and the full body spinner of Nightlight, which was rather impressive in the main competition. Shame it didn't go any further.
2, 1, activate.
Could this be where it gets its chance to show what it can do? Well, it's off to a good start, doing a bit of damage to Iron Ore, who's coming in, and something else has come off Iron Ore, don't know what that was. But Nightlight spinning them away, and Iron Ore will need some help. I think a bit of plastic's come off the flipper as well. Oh, Nightlight's in the pit! Well, that's the end of that! So much for them showing off, look at this! That final collision, and into the pit goes Nightlight. Well, that is a shame. Oh dear, what on earth happened, guys? And it's the same thing in the main competition too. Nightlight seemingly on top, and all of a sudden they are out, just like here. Iron Ore through, next up Sandstorm and Mighty Mouse. Sandstorm! Lifter! A small body that can slam into anyone and give them real trouble. The front wedge can easily take spinning attacks, and the lifter does have a level of effectiveness to it, mainly for self-rating. The pushing power of the machine is actually said to be strong enough to rival Tornado, but the exposed wheels do pose a bit of a problem. Mighty Mouse, Rambot. It may be the smallest machine in the competition, but its speed is not to be underestimated. It's quick and very agile. The front spikes help deal damage as it pushes against its opponents, while the rear circular saws slash into the armor of anyone they come into contact with, while the roll bar helps the machine right itself when thrown over. Which is actually really easy to do because they've had to sacrifice a lot of weight to add to its speed, so it's quite lightweight.
Robot ears, stand by.
Sandstorm, with their front blade and lifter, and Mighty Mouse, with their front spikes, their roll cage, and their rear circular saws.
3, 2, 1, activate.
How will this go? I wonder. Well, I'll go with Sandstorm smashing into the front of Mighty Mouse, and now Mighty Mouse underneath Sandstorm, and Sandstorm using their weapon to try and push themselves away and get free. They're free now to push back at Mighty Mouse, but they're on top again. And Sandstorm once again on the attack. Pushing away at Mighty Mouse and slamming them into the arena wall, driving up the front of them. Is there any... I think that's all it's going to be, unless Sandstorm is intelligent enough to push them into the pit, and almost had them there. And now, Mighty Mouse stuck on the spike, almost thrown over. Sandstorm tried to capitalize on that. They could not, however. Sandstorm once again ramming up the front of Mighty Mouse, who have been holding their own in this fight. Very well, it has to be said. But Sandstorm still pushing away at Mighty Mouse, still using their power to their advantage and using that spike to get Mighty Mouse on their side. And that one wheel can only help them turn in one direction, but it's not going to help them. Look at this, that goes the spike, up onto their side goes Mighty Mouse, not enough to fully flip them, but it's enough to get them stuck on their side. And now, can Mighty Mouse into the pit? Falling down, and Sandstorm ran over the pit as well. A good long fight that was. But the end result was inevitable, with Mighty Mouse falling and Sandstorm going through. Honestly, I didn't really see that fight going any other way. I didn't see Mighty Mouse coming out on top. Sorry to say this, guys, but I didn't. I figured Sandstorm would outpush you and throw you out. They did. Sandstorm goes through, and this is how round 2 looks. Iron Ore will be taking on Junkyard Boss a little bit later on, but first, it's the lifting arm of the cumbersome Hedgy Pig against the pushing power and lifter of Sandstorm.
Roboteers, stand by.
Hedgy Pig with their lifting arm and their very small body, and Sandstorm with their front plow and lifter on top, and their very quick pushing power.
3, 2, 1, activate.
On paper, well, Sandstorm the fastest, but their own power has once again seen them going up the top of Hedgy Pig. It happened to them in their fight with Mighty Mouse earlier. And now, Sandstorm once again ramming up the top of Hedgy Pig. And Hedgy Pig, despite being very slow compared to Sandstorm, are giving them a very good tussle. They're holding their own. In fact, they're almost on top here, because they've used their weapon on their opponent a lot more than Sandstorm has on them. But Sandstorm has more push, can push Hedgy Pig away, and almost had Hedgy Pig down the pit. Hedgy Pig lifting Sandstorm. And now the two tussle again near the arena wall, but also near that pit. And Sandstorm on the lifting arm, and too close to the pit, and down they go. That's the end of Sandstorm. A great victory there for Hedgy Pig. Look at this. They reverse Sandstorm, and they topple over into the pit. And that's the end of Sandstorm. They're out, and Hedgy Pig goes through to the heat final. Well done, Hedgy Pig. And I think this machine has been severely underestimated throughout this entire competition, even in the mains. They're into the heat final once again. Next up, Junkyard Boss and Iron Ore.
Roboteers, stand by.
Junkyard Boss with their front lifting plow and pushing power. And Iron Ore with their CO2 powered flipper and their spiked axe.
3, 2, 1, activate.
It'll be interesting to see how Iron Ore comes out on this one, because, well, Junkyard Boss can drive both ways up, and Iron Ore has that CO2 flipper as well as the axe. Although right now, Junkyard Boss is able to cause problems for Iron Ore, and getting them stuck on that spike isn't helping matters. But now Iron Ore can get underneath Junkyard Boss and flip them over, dropping that axe down. And again, and flipping them again as well. Can they flip them out the arena while they're trying to move? No. Junkyard Boss rights themselves, trying to come back and push away, but they're getting flipped again, and clots are going out the arena, and can they go out? No! But the axe of Iron Ore has gotten itself stuck in Junkyard Boss, who frees himself now. And Junkyard Boss again being flipped over, and again almost out the arena, and now they are, out they go. That's the end of Junkyard Boss in this competition. Iron Ore heads on through to the heat final. A great run from Junkyard Boss, but all for naught, unfortunately. Hope to see them back again, however, in the next wars. And I really do want to see them again. It's an impressive machine. It has lots of potential, but Iron Ore sadly didn't think so and sent them out as a result. And it's Iron Ore heading through to the heat final. Hope to see Junkyard Boss back again in the next wars, but for now, it's Iron Ore into the heat final to face off against the cumbersome Hedgy Pig. And if they can pull off an upset here, I will be speechless. Who could have predicted this for the heat final with Hedgy Pig and Iron Ore? Quite the surprise for Hedgy Pig to be here. Iron Ore, we've seen them here in Battle of the YouTubers. Here's how they got here. Starting with Hedgy Pig, they took on Battleboard's competitor Black Widow, and surprisingly were on top the entire fight. Kept lifting them, couldn't really do anything until they controlled them and dropped them down into the pit. Now it's the end of Black Widow, and then Sandstorm, who kept charging but couldn't get their weapon effectively into play, unlike Hedgy Pig. And then this precision lift and reversing, and that was the end of Sandstorm, down into the pit of oblivion and out of the competition. Iron Ore, meanwhile, had trouble in their first opening fight with Nightlight. Battered, beaten, and spun across the floor, and then a bit of poor driving here on Nightlight's part, and the full body spinner in the pit and out. And then Junkyard Boss gave him a good push, got him on the spikes, and it seemed like a fairly fair fight, honestly. A good fight, but that one flip, it was all over, and from then on in, Iron Ore dominated. And then one final flip later, and over and out. And that was the end for Junkyard Boss.
Roboteers, stand by.
Hedgy Pig, the small machine, the slow machine with the lifting arm, the effective lifting arm, I should say. And Iron Ore, the big, long machine with the CO2 flipper and the spiked axe.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Not to mention our Battle of the YouTubers grand finalists who came third and are already giving problems for Hedgy Pig. And Hedgy Pig shockingly made the heat final in the main competition, don't forget, and Iron Ore nearly had Hedgy Pig out of the arena there. But now it's Hedgy Pig's turn to come in and try and control Iron Ore like they have before to Sandstorm and Black Widow. But I don't think it's gonna happen. Or is it? It could happen. No! Into the pit goes Hedgy Pig, and Iron Ore follows suit, crushing them. Well, I think Hedgy Pig's trying to lift Iron Ore out. It's not gonna happen. Hedgy Pig, they're in the pit first. They're out, and it's Iron Ore through to the Newblood Championships Grand Finals. A great run for Hedgy Pig comes to an end as Iron Ore makes another grand final like they did in the Battle of the YouTubers competition. Maybe this time they'll go all the way. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.